I'll never see them. Welcome to another casual cat day.
Still CAC.
Oh.
So please everything for that.
Okay, we're live.
Oh, here we go. Can someone let Tom in the meeting?
I just let up your name.
Somehow we need to promote this. We gotta get one of yours.
So this is
Gonna get more viewers.
This event.
we're live streaming.
So there's others in there. Carol, Linda, that's Tom.
Yep.
You ready? Okay, so, call to order, yay.
Yay.
6:04, all in favor, yes, great. Accepting the minutes from last month?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Minutes accepted from last month, yes. Oh, okay, so number one issue is, as an issue, city budget for next year. So what happens is that the BDA, the Board of Estimates, which is Kamal, the mayor, Tom, the president, and the treasurer, all meet and discuss the budget for the following year. All departments submit a budget, and then they meet, and they talk about it, and then they yay or nay, and then. So we have to submit a budget for next year. Our last year's budget, I want to say, is $13,500. That we were approved. I submitted double that. I asked for twice the amount. So we have the same, say, 13,500. So what do we want to submit for the budget?
Twice that.
Always ask for more.
Right?
Yeah.
All right, fine. So we'll double again.
So we have to justify.
Yeah, like why did they say why?
Tom is on the call.
He's on the, here, give me 1 second. This keeps flickering on and off. That owl. It was working in the beginning.
Maybe mistake for the ED as well as.
Oh, am I missing it? No.
The lights are on. Is every, hmm.
you and I, Tom, may have to just do this ourselves.
Yeah. He's not getting the owl connected somehow. Because we can hear him, but not the room or see the room.
Down there in terms of, points that we can get, but more points on this. Oh, good. Yeah, so you'll see, so we have, the city of Hudson has its own, we have our own username and login and we have certain items. So it will tell you which items we've done already and then which items are available. And it gives like a whole PDF explanation about how to go through each one, like for instance, an audit of the energy efficiency of government buildings, like how to go through that. The fact that we have the electric chargers out there that got us some points. Like we have a farmer's market got us some points. So there's like a couple hundred of items to go through. Then you got to figure out which ones. I think we've checked off the ones we've already done or which are already doable. But even if there could be something there that we've already done, but you just have to fill out the form so we get the points for it.
Okay, and once we get the points, then we're eligible for.
For grant money and for whatever.
So it's just the issue of filling out the form.
It's not, right, there's just forms you have to fill out. Like for instance,
Okay,
it's
insufferable forms.
insufferable. And
Got it.
some of the things are like huge, like building a new comprehensive plan with certain climate resiliency aspects into it. I mean,
And the comprehensive plan process is happening right now. It's been
Right.
happening for a few months, will continue to happen through the end of the year and into next. And there will be hopefully some climate, it's in process right now, but hopefully there'll be some climate pieces that are included, but we're not there quite yet. But hopefully.
Okay, and you're involved in that organization? Okay, great.
But were you saying you wanted to do more on the grant side or the?
Well, just
or
because
the-
I would love to work on initiatives. If they're any existing, I really don't know, since I'm pretty new to, apart from the ones we've discussed, but also, just, there's there are grants out there that nobody even knows about.
Yeah.
That knows you don't get money.
I will get you a username and password. So,
Okay.
and then you can just go into the database and just like scroll around.
Is Hudson part, and I don't want to have time, but is Hudson part of, I think it's called something like CERCI or something that used to be the Foundation Center in New York City. There's a whole advanced database there and you can join up for, probably $50 or something as an institution. You can have access to all their information.
That I don't know.
Okay, is that something we could probably,
What's it called again?
I'll get the correct, it begins with the C. C. Sorry.
Email me.
Yeah.
There is something that we joined.
The NISAC, the New York
NISAC.
State Association of
Bigger.
CACs and, yeah.
Okay.
But the DC website also has some grants that we'd be eligible for at the bronze level.
Okay.
And then we could see what we might be eligible for beyond that too.
Yeah, there's CEC, the climate energy something.
The clean energy
Clean
community,
energy.
the NYSERDA versus
And
the
then
DC, yeah, they're two different,
There's two different, they kind of intersect. And
yeah, but they both have opportunities.
Right. That's where, for instance, the heat pump money came from,
Right.
CEC, which is going to like, so anyway. Tom DePietro, we had a question for you. So you are on the beat.
I'm here.
And, hello, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
So last year, we requested, I think it was $26,000, I want to say, something like that, double the amount that we got. So, and that was denied. So Anne asked the question, why was it denied? Do you remember?
Do we need to like have or explanation for why we would use or where we would put that money?
That helps. Excuse me. But in the past, you know, the CAC really hasn't asked for money. So it was just the kind of the beginning of giving, allocating funds to the CAC. I don't know what else to say other than that. I mean,
Cool, that helps. So as long as we just give more description, yeah,
Of why
Yeah.
we want that.
where we put that money, yeah.
Because the street tree planting is popular, and we can show
Yes.
that there's a demand,
Mhm.
and then more people want more street trees.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
And then like stuff like the cemetery garden or the cemetery entrance, like there are other things that we could do in the cemetery. And then, yeah, well,
I mean, there's a ton of stuff.
yeah.
All right, cool. So.
Okay, thank you.
So we're gonna request double the amount of money that we could receive last time, and I'll put that in the form for the treasurer,
When
We
does
can
that have to
say-
begin?
the end of this month, September 22nd, or the 10th, or something like that. It's next, maybe it could be next week. But it's after this meeting.
And that's the budget for 2025.
Yes, and then what happens is that every department submits their budget, the BEA meets, and then we can actually go to the BEA meeting when they meet and discuss our budget item, which I totally recommend, that we
When's
all
that?
go there. And I don't think that schedule has been put out yet.
For this next month.
The BEA meets in when, October, November, Tom, October
it starts.
it starts. So we put our budget request in this month, the BEA starts meeting next month, and that they discuss our budget request.
And when you put in the budget request, which, I mean, is there a place to put in like this much money would provide this many street trees
Yes.
or this many charging stations or whatever we want to add to it? 'Cause
I mean, and there's a description, it's just an Excel spreadsheet, but yeah, I mean, I could put in X number of dollars that translates into Y number of street trees.
And
Do you
is
wanna
the
help?
intent for it to just be street trees, or is there a different formulation?
I mean, I know we had the, last year, we know we were gonna do the cemetery with some of the money, but I mean, we can put in a request for whatever.
And for a later point down the line, and this is something Aaron and I started talking about, was wanting to try and bring some more care and attention to the pocket parks along the way, because I think it could be a very good visual element to make people aware that the CAC even exists. And granted, you mentioned there are possible grants and things, but I think if we could get some budget on that as well, it would be helpful. And I have something to chat through later on, not to steer us off into that direction.
Okay.
Yeah.
And to add another item, budget item, something I've been thinking about recently, just because I had some visitors staying with me and they're like, there's no recycling bins in the entire city of, so it was a blind spot for me because I've actually set up recycling programs for institutions before. And I was like, there actually are no public recycling bins in the city of Hudson that are visible. I mean, we do recycle at our homes, but so I just wanted to raise that as something to think about for us. Because it could be a budget item too, depending on what is needed for the city to transition bins, if this is something we want to take on as a council or recommend.
I mean, there are some things that, for instance, that when we do get this grant, or we get more grant money in, I think that they might recycling bins. I mean, it's a big, also it's a DPW
I mean,
question.
sure, it need to be obviously in conversation with
Yeah,
DPW.
yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna put in for double the amount of money for street trees and parks. How's that? Right? Yeah. Okay, good. Okay, next item. Tree ordinance. Nathan, do you want to talk about the tree ordinance? Anyone want to talk about the tree ordinance?
Tom's raised his hand.
Oh, Tom, you're raising your hand, yes.
Yeah, about the parks. There's a lot going on with the pocket parks right now. A lot of public projects. So, and there's also the possibility of getting a parks director in the short term, in the near future. So let's talk about that offline and, then decide if you still want to ask for money.
I mean, okay, so here's my 2 cents. This was me talking. Right, I do think that the parks director and the DPW should maintain the parks, because even us doing the cemetery still means like us watering.
Yeah, I've been doing it.
Yeah.
I've been feeding it.
Is the cemetery the part of the parks?
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna ask. The cemetery is a park.
Right, because we're
Right.
not maintenance, and there's plenty of grants and proposal projects that we could be going after. But if we start maintaining the parks, we don't have the resources. We're just a bunch of volunteers, folks. We don't have that.
Well, I wasn't even thinking necessarily of, it's not focused yet. This is just like sort of an exploratory stage for me. We don't have any kind of community, besides FOBs, we don't have any kind of community gardens program. I don't know if it's feasible. I don't know if there's the initiative or the interest to see if there are actually volunteers who want to take on some level of ownership for the various pocket parks, much like we have with green spaces in the city, because I was part of several different community gardens in various neighborhoods where there's often someone who doesn't have their own green space, who is highly motivated to create some kind of care within those kinds of spaces, especially because it lends itself to their experience of it. So that's way down the road. Initially, I'm hoping just to explore what do we need to take into account in terms of getting engagement, getting that organized, finding budgets and grants for it, having places to keep equipment, maintenance. There's so many little pieces to explore.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is a parks department that has to, I think, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like for instance, when Britt was here, DPW then took Britt on to help say how to prune trees. So that's where her job was, and so she helped DPW prune trees. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, it's a whole big.
Again, if you all are okay with me starting to just explore what it is, chatting with pops, and
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, like Tom was saying, that there's pocket parks here, and each of these pocket parks need help.
Yeah.
So maybe let's table that until the end, and we'll
Yeah.
have new business. Okay, fair enough. Tree ordinance. Do we have any movement on tree ordinance? Anyone?
Sorry, I'm having trouble seeing if anyone else is speaking. So if I'm talking over someone, I apologize. So I think where this was left, I was not here for the. I'm sorry. Is someone else speaking?
No.
No, we're all listening to you.
Sorry. I was not here for the last meeting, but 2 meetings ago, where this was left was there's a draft that was circulated for comments. I don't think that there were any comments, but sort of there's a question of whether we proceed with that plan, which was a much ratcheted back version of the previous thing that was forwarded to the legal committee, or we make some other proposal.
We did make comments.
I thought there was.
Oh, did I miss this?
Yeah,
What?
Didn't you make comments?
I think we did make some comments.
Okay.
And I thought that we talked about it last time.
we should review.
I think
the
I
minutes.
missed this last.
Wow.
Ah,
But
I'm
it's
sorry.
more about trees in the public way, like ones that were actually on private land, but still provided shade for the public way. We were hoping those could be included in this.
Did you email Nathan back?
We did, I thought.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a while, but
It's been a while. It's been a couple months. So sorry. So this. All right, let's go pull up the email.
Did they reload in problem too, because at one point, mine had a glitch in it, and has, my emails, you, back to you, read through, and I've noticed that the format had changed on.
Yes, it's two groups now, yeah.
So maybe something
Uh-huh.
Maybe
happened
something
with the migration of whatever emails files.
Right, we'll then go back and look for the email.
Should we
But
try
let's talk about what our feedback was, is that what were you saying?
Well, I think I was suggesting that the trees that were on public property but provided shade on the sidewalks should still be considered in the public way. And those should, if anyone wanted to cut those down or prune those, they needed to go through a permitting process. Like if they wouldn't just be private trees that they could do what they wanted with, but they were like public trees in that shade trees in that sense. To sort of add some nuance like that to this ratcheted down plan that Nathan, that you had tried to create so that the legal committee would just, that we could get something through.
You're muted.
I feel like I'm personally very much in favor of that. I think there's just this like gap between what I might personally be in favor of and what might be possible to pass through the legal committee. But I have probably, Rich and Tom probably have a better sense of that than I do.
Well, you can always just pass something to the legal committee, and if it doesn't work out, they could just pass it back to us. I mean, it's an iterative process. You know, it's not going to be perfect off the bat. We realize, like, for instance, you know, having a tree board is probably not a good idea. It's a lot, you know, and so I mean, what's the worst that can happen? They just come back to us.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. So, okay, let's proceed with that plan then.
Okay, so
Of getting that into a more organized state and getting that to the legal committee.
Okay.
Was there a question around enforcement? Like, did we want to have a conversation with
We
code?
have to have a conversation with code enforcement.
Yeah, right.
So, what we should probably do, Nathan, how about this? Would you be okay, forwarding that to code enforcement? And see what
Yeah.
they say?
Yeah, I don't have a personal relationship, but I can send an email and see.
See what he says.
Yeah.
Talk to Craig. See what he says. I mean, we can meet with him too if he wants, but I mean, I would forward the document, see what Craig says, and then as long as Craig gives his blessing on it, if he does, then we forward. How's that?
Okay. That seems like a good plan.
Yeah, if Craig says no, then it's, you know, we're SOL, so.
Yeah. And there are other, and you know, there are other communities that I think have a similar sort of trees in the public way piece of their, and they have tree boards, but like Rhinebeck has that as part of their code. So there are examples we could point to if needed in reinforcing our argument.
Yeah, okay, so next steps. So Nathan, I think that these comments have been incorporated. We're gonna say, or incorporate the comments, forward that to code enforcement, see what Craig says, see what we get from him, and if everything looks okay, then we can forward. If Craig says okay, then we can forward to legal. Or maybe he'll have comments too, and we'll come back with something. So let's see how.
This seems like a good plan.
All right, good. Yay.
Thanks for taking that
Thank you. Yes.
further.
Community choice aggregation. Same as you.
Yeah, it's a good question where that is.
Last time we talked to Justin.
Justin was investigating who in the city was taking on RFPs, because I think Michael Hoffman was, when he was in that position, had drafted the RFP for this to find a third-party administrator. And then he left his position. Justin didn't know if that was under his purview, and was going to do a little research. I'm trying to remember what I think he was still figuring out who or what that process should be. If it's something that we should take on, I mean, we have a draft. I just don't know I mean, maybe it was.
Tom, does the
decided-
RFP have to go through the mayor's office?
Through Tracy.
Tracy, how's the
I'm trying to
RFP get
remember where
posted?
yeah.
Why? Yes to what? Tracy or the mayor or both?
No, you should check with Tracy and also the mayor. Mayor has to
Okay,
definitely approve it.
okay, fine. So that's, process.
Okay.
So we'll just send it to Tracy, can you just?
I can, yeah, I can do that. I don't think I've sent it directly to Tracy.
Send it directly to Tracy, she'll get an answer immediately. CC the mayor.
Okay. I'll copy Justin too.
And copy Justin
Yep.
too.
Justin too.
Yeah, okay, good, thank you. That's why we have these meetings, folks. Just to move things forward. Anti-idling laws, how are we with that?
Has not moved forward.
Fine.
Simple, but in a few weeks, we're gonna have a meeting about it.
Mhm.
Great, great. And you can see my good friend Bill Houston has a lot of comments to say about it.
Yes. he
Oh,
does.
wonderful, good.
Against me
We'll
too.
reference that.
Yes, you could reference it because I'm very much against it according to Bill Houston.
Oh,
He
I didn't know that.
It's
Certainly did speak like it.
And he used a very good drag photo of me in the vlog, so there you go. Yeah. Just very gay but appropriate. As long as I'm a fan. Right.
Okay.
That wig is slimming.
Anyway, yeah, so you could go read this, because I have an electric car, I'm against idling laws.
Right,
That makes total sense.
Yeah.
Anyway, tree grants. Okay, so look, I asked the grant writers to resubmit, so they were gonna look into it, but I don't think that it was, the grant was available again this year. I didn't hear anything about it. To resubmit for this, there was, last year, we almost applied for $75,000 grant to take down trees.
oh,
But I asked the grant writers to, and I have not heard back, so.
it goes
They-
to you.
Not a lot of them. So I'll ask them again, but that's where it is. Oh, the trees on Harry Howard. Okay, here we go.
I know there's been a lot of
Oh,
chatter about
wow,
this.
yeah,
We went, we visited,
We did.
we counted,
did.
and I used a little ChatGPT magic to match everything up. And I think it's roughly right in terms of the healthy conditions being about 30, the sweet gums, the birch, the hackberry, and the lindens. All 10, based on the map and based on our count, we think those are the ones that are doing well. The borderline ones seem to be the eastern redbuds and the hornbeams, and the service berries all seem distressed or dead.
How many
So
is that?
that is 10,
That matched your number, right?
yeah, out of 50. And then the other 12 out of 50 are borderline.
Okay, so this is what happened, is that the RFP went out and we had a bid, who was this contractor from Long Island, right? But it was the cheapest bid, so the city went for it.
yeah.
But they guaranteed. No, that's
Yeah,
what
I
I
thought
heard.
that they
This is
said
a
they were gonna
question.
replace the trees
And
that died.
And if they're gonna do that, they should do it
This
Now.
fall,
this, like next month, right?
it's not the middle of the summer.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll be honest, I don't know enough about this, but I can forward the contract to whomever wants to look and give the contractor a call. I'll
Sure.
forward the contract information that I have. I will forward that to you all. And then,
Who would like to take that?
I can,
yeah. it's-
Okay.
It's,
Thank you.
I will help.
yeah, can we, yeah. Tag
Okay,
team.
With backup over here, maybe?
yeah.
Just because it seemed interesting.
No, I am.
Oh,
she's
oh,
in.
yeah, you're in.
You're in.
I am the tree woman.
We can be a subcommittee.
Something, yeah. I'll forward you the information, the contract, so hopefully the
Subcommittee.
contractor's name and information is on there. There's a guarantee also that there's a couple of contracts. It's a contract with the contractor and one with the state that gave us the grant. So from what Britt Hillary told me is that there's some sort of warranty on them giving us the trees. Fine. And then what the state says that we have to show that X number of trees with a survival rate. Now, the state has already given us the money, so I don't think they're gonna claw it back. I don't think so, that's gonna happen. But there is like a DEC sort of like run through that needs to happen, just to make sure it actually happens. I mean, if we can show, I think that if we can show our own due diligence that, we got these trees planted, so many don't look good, but we went back out to the contractor and we tried to get them replaced. Maybe the contractor says yes, maybe they say, I don't know. But if we can show the state that we've done our due diligence on our side and document it, I think that's the best we could do, folks. I also think that there's still some money, and I will find out with Tracy how much money is left. I want to say like a couple grand to do, there's another component which is in the DEC contract that
For
says
public.
for public youth, blah, blah, blah.
Yep, and I'll have to talk to Liz about that.
We need additional planting.
No, just like education. This,
Oh,
we
right.
did this. This is
Right,
this
right.
kind of tree. Let's see, check it out. It's dead. Let's figure out why it died. What are we gonna do about that? Nothing.
I do have a question about when we were there, we checked the status of the water bags as well, and it was very uneven.
Yeah.
Who's,
DPW bills them.
okay, all right.
So, yeah. So the
It's
water.
not the firefighter?
Yeah.
It's DPW?
It's DPW.
Yeah.
So the thing is that we have to maintain and water the trees.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
As long as they're maintained and watered, that the warranty is good.
Yeah.
I guess. But, yeah,
And the dead ones are definitely service bears?
They seem to be,
Oh.
yeah.
Yeah.
We did not have the map with us when we did it, but we,
They look
Yeah,
like
yeah.
service
but
berries.
we did it.
I'm not sure how hard, so that's weird.
Yeah,
That's very.
It might have been the plant time too. It was a really
Mhm.
bad time. to
So-
plant.
Oh, God. It's totally stupid.
I mean, I'll send you, I mean, Britt's still around if you have questions. I mean, she did the plantings, so, yes.
we should lower this. It's too late now. Hi.
Who cares?
The camera.
It's just Carol and Linda.
They know what we look like.
Yeah, but it's more entertaining.
Not every call,
Just-
I think not every call is free video call. I think some calls are, conference calls, I was fine with conference calls for 20 years.
I can make more faces now.
Okay, light bulbs, so take it away, light bulb.
All right, light
I
bulbs.
have an idea.
So I did send along the little summary. What is our budget?
Okay, so we have $5,000 sitting in the fund.
That is a lot of light bulbs.
That's a lot of light bulb. I was thinking about this, I say, here's my 2 cents, is that we do like $1,000 and see how many light bulbs that gets us.
Yes.
And we don't have to buy them all at once too.
Mhm.
There's nothing that's really.
Oh, that's-
Yeah.
all at once.
Yeah.
Good.
So we don't have to store them.
Because we have to store them, and what if they're not the right ones?
Where is our storage?
The DPW has a storage place for us. He emailed me out to go, there's somewhere where we can have access to it.
There was a question around the bulb type. I'm gonna order a couple of samples, I think, because
Oh,
we
that's a
want to
good
make
idea.
sure we don't get crap bulbs.
Great idea.
So I'd like to do that. Is there going to be an actual exchange involved? My concern is we don't want to do it and then have people throwing CFLs into the garbage, which is mercury in the groundwater. So incandescents you can throw away, but the other ones,
Well, the other ones, I mean, that's a question for, who would know, the Greenport transfer people would know what to
Alright.
do with them. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
she would, I mean, I forget her name.
I wonder if we can do it together, but uncouple it and say, we'll give you bulbs. Please bring us your CFLs or halogens to recycle. You know,
Mm.
could we just do it that way as opposed to?
I think whichever way we do it is fine.
Yeah, all right. The big question is going to be how to give public notice and what these exchange locations are, how it's coordinated, special event, do we do a special event around it? Do we bring some to the farmer's market?
It's a template.
Yeah, but it feels like it's a larger question of how do we let people know it's just available, and if they do just want to come and exchange someplace, or is it only on those like special occasions that we do it?
It's however we set it up.
Yeah, all right.
Did you find any information from Columbia Opportunity?
They did not return anything. I don't think they have their program anymore
Okay.
for that, and I emailed twice to the same people to try and get them to respond, but
Akron did this.
yeah,
So
Who did?
Akron,
okay, the town.
the town of Akron, I mean, I don't know who exactly.
I can look at how they did it.
Yeah. So we're not the first people to do this.
Do we have social media?
We do. Vanessa maintains it.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Really?
something.
I didn't know that.
We have an.
Aaron's going to take it over.
I'm not.
Yeah, Vanessa, we do have an Instagram account
And there's the City of Hudson Hub also that we could
We could post a.
post something up.
Yeah, we just do a press release.
I don't know how many
Trixie?
cities, but
All right.
or on Trixie's list.
The big question will be around like the duration, where to do it, how to do it. So let me take that on board and do a little more exploration around that.
There's also like, just, it already happened. Sucks, but there's a block party that happens every year
Yeah.
by Bliss Towers. That could be a
Well,
place,
well,
like the bike shop shows up there, you know? Like,
We'll have them for next year.
yeah, like,
Maybe that's a good idea. We should put together like a calendar of events too.
Yeah.
I think like hitting a few different events.
Yeah. And can we, if we're there tabling to do that, is there some sort of partnering of other things that we want to do at the same time? Just
mhm,
know your CAC.
no, you're, navigate your
Yeah.
path.
Volunteer.
I mean,
Yeah, and you can get volunteers.
We might just, where are we now? We're in September.
Yeah.
So even if we spent the next few months figuring our act, getting our act together.
Yeah.
And then starting with spring, we could start this exchange, because then there'll be Water Park Wednesday, there'll be the farmer's market.
Mhm.
You know, because now we're going into winter. So
Yeah.
we're not gonna want to be outside doing it.
No.
No. But it would be nice if there would, I'll explore the possibility of some sort of partnership with somebody who might want to like make their space available to do a bulb
Greater
exchange.
Farmers Neighborhood.
Some shops
With
on
a
the
Spark
street,
building.
you know?
Oh,
or- Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'll see.
Or maybe Lowe's. No, seriously.
Lowe's.
I'll see.
Yes.
So, yeah.
I'll take it from a pessimist's point of view.
Well,
Susan
Lowe's
knows,
is
but-
technically.
Lowe's
is green.
Yeah, I wanted to look that's outside of it.
Maybe Acrobates or whatever the.
Maybe do not the library.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
Rogers.
Rogers says they can Acrobates in there.
The library's big.
Harry?
You know what the library is doing, by the way?
What's it
Oh,
called?
the
That's
Prince
Bridgeport also.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
across the street.
The library is doing a pollinator workshop sponsored by Parkersburg.
Climate action.
Yes.
Rich
Library?
suggested we do the library for
Rich,
store
you
and
got
all
it.
the exchange or something like that.
When is that happening?
I don't know, it's on my list. It's not every day, hopefully.
Okay.
Hopefully it's not, we'll post it every day.
And the library, the library might want to partner with us on this too. The
Right?
library has the Library of Local Sustainability Library Initiative, and they have a kiosk, and I bet they would love to.
Oh,
partner. I mean, they would probably, we should partner, I think, with them in different ways.
The,
The Hudson
oh,
Library,
that's a number, yeah, we were just saying,
but maybe they'd want to have some bulbs to give out.
yeah,
I could think of different organizations partnering.
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, I think the library is a good place for us
Perfect.
to do a whole
Yeah.
exchange. They could maybe house them. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you very much. Yay. What did I put in here? Oh, EV car grants, yes, that's still in the works. So we're due to get maybe another $5,000 for some EV car grants. So I don't know how far that's gonna get us, but that's with me. So
Is there a due date for those grants or is that on rolling?
it's just, it's a rolling thing. So the idea is that I filled out the form, so anytime X number of electric vehicle cars get signed up with the DMV, we get more money. So I have to do a status check to see where we're at. We're at $5,000 so far.
And so, and the idea is to have more chargers in town.
Yes,
I found-
chargers are not cheap. That's the thing. But, you know, like these chargers here, the total cost of that was like $45,000. So for the 3 chargers, because there's $20-something thousand for the chargers themselves, another $20,000 to dig the trench and hook them up. So, but, I mean, they are working, people use them, and the city makes money off it. I also think that DEA is that the extra money that the city makes over the electric car chargers should go into the CAC budget.
Do we know how much money that is?
There's an account, they set up an account because they get a check, you pay, I mean, I'm paying right now $1.75 an hour to charge the car. So, and it costs like pennies, in electricity, you know, maybe a quarter or something.
Right.
But, because when I set it up, gas was at $1.75 a gallon. So when I set it up at 18, that's what I use.
This was at $1.75 a gallon?
And you get 25 miles per hour. So yes, so I do think that we should, but I'll ask Heather where that money is. She'll love me for asking the question, but I also chair the finance committee, so you think I have some pull. Pollen in regard to the cemetery entrance. Is there any outstanding issues with that?
I still haven't got figured out a plaque scenario, so it's like nobody knows who did it or what the heck it is. I'm currently starting to get concerned about DPW's twitchy fingers with weed whackers.
Yeah.
Because I really don't want, I want to figure out how to say, do not mow this down.
Send
Because,
an email to Rob Perry.
okay, I will.
Yeah, someone weed whacked one of my, from one of my trees on my property. Yeah, no idea who it was. It was just weed whack. There's nothing else to do. I understand.
Just chase them, Jack.
At 7 a.m., we walk across the street.
Yeah, that whole garden by my house on, state between 3rd and 4th, that used to have plantings, but they weed whacked everything. One thing at a time, one thing at a time. All right, so just send an email to Rob Perry, tell him not to weed whack.
Okay, I might, maybe in the same breath, I'll ask him to meet me to discuss what maintenance looks like.
Yeah, and poke him also, I poked him a week or two ago about the electric lawn equipment for the cemetery. I got her back. So poke him about that too.
How about, not gonna say that, leaf blowers, which are completely polluting, as we know.
Ugh.
But well.
They don't use leaf blowers in the cemetery that I've ever seen.
Okay.
They do use a lot of weed whackers.
And they use the leaf blowers.
I have never seen them.
Well,
Well, they use them a lot in Front Street and around the gardens there. I mean, I have literally watched people chase a leaf for a half hour, like,
There's
Right.
money in the account for electric leaf blowers.
Okay.
They just got $15,000 to buy
Nice.
electric
see,
lawn equipment.
Mhm.
They got it a couple months ago.
Okay,
So I asked Rob what
Okay.
the status is. I have not heard back.
okay.
But I sent him I went to Lowe's, I took photos of how much everything cost. Lowe's has a whole section of electric lawn equipment. We can get a lot. Climate vulnerability assessment and climate action planning documents.
That was supposed to go onto the
Did
CAC
you send that
website.
to me?
Yes.
You did. All right, that's on me, then. Sorry.
No worries.
I will post that to the CAC website. Fine.
Thank you.
All right, Arbor Day, street tree plantings. So where are we with our current list?
I feel like I effed up by sending out emails right away. I currently have to respond to a bunch of emails being like, what do you mean I can't get a tree? Or what do you mean I'm getting a tree? And so I have to go through all of those and go through
This is what I'm thinking.
super double check.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because this is a big project. Maybe we need a subcommittee or something, like another meeting outside of this to go through it all, because it's kind of a lot of work.
It is.
Do we make our Harry Howard subcommittee a subcommittee?
We could do
And
that.
just do the tree stuff, those
We
two
could do
tree
that.
things?
Because, and I don't know if I forwarded to you, you may not have
You
it.
forwarded it to the group, I thought. Oh, sorry. Never mind.
Oh, Britt did a little,
Yes.
checklist of all the bing, 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 to see if a tree qualifies to be a street tree. Because you have to,
There's a street tree guide. Is
There's
that
a street
what-
tree
Tree
guide.
guy.
Yeah, we're not doing Warren Street because there's too many cables underneath. You have to call 811 dig to make sure that there's no gas pipes there
Right.
too. So there's a
Yep.
whole list of qualifications before. Okay, so this is something I did not know, this is something I learned with Josh just this month. Anyone who wants to plant a street tree anywhere in the city it goes through us first. Meaning that, and all we have to do is just okay the species of the tree. And then from that point on, it goes to DPW. But there was a form.
And they are the ones who then see if there are any buried.
Right, and this is someone who wants to plant a tree in front of their house, not out of their
Yep.
tree budget,
Yep.
just anyone, right? They have to send the form to us, we okay the species, then it goes to DPW. I did not know that, so
And-
that's the process.
And the email address, do we clarify which one that is? Is that
There
the
is,
you, the general one? or-
it's not going anywhere, and I've asked them to forward it, so I don't know where that is going.
I get that. Is there any, this town, you got a tree pit? You're like, you stick a tree in it? Is anybody gonna say anything? You know,
Well, if you dig and then if you hit a gas pipe, you'll hear it, you'll know.
yeah. But I'm saying there's already a tree pit there, it's just dead. Like when you say that you have to get approval, like, do people know that? You know, nobody knows that.
I think if there's an existing pit, then
Yeah.
that's probably safe.
Yeah,
But I think DPW also would do a cut, like a cement cut,
yeah,
if you wanted one.
Totally.
And you applied. Like-
but in terms of the process of approving species for any tree.
And I think that we have a list of native species list too, so they just have to pick from it, so.
Gotcha.
They just took down on Warren Street on a block. How do I, will that be replaced? I mean, they just,
It's a toss. It's one step forward, two steps back.
yeah, okay. It's weird. I was not there.
I think it was National Grid, no?
Pardon me?
Was that National Grid who did that?
I don't know. I wasn't there. I just,
It was a living tree.
came back from, a trip and I freaked out because it was gone.
Another reason our budget should be increased. Yeah, because there's a lot of trees to plant.
Tom has raised his hand.
Oh, yes, Tom.
30 trees are going in as part of this, streetscape BRI
Oh,
fund project.
But that's the streetscape that's just Front Street, right?
No,
Oh,
part of Warren too, I believe.
okay.
It's online somewhere. You can see the sketch.
what streetscape is that part of? That's what? That's with the DRI?
The DRI.
Correct.
Well, that's good. All right, so tree people, do you want to just set up a separate meeting, go over trees?
Mhm.
All right, I'll leave that with you. Okay, climate carnival. I have the insurance form. So the question is, do we want to do this climate carnival, which is on February 14th? From 1 to 4?
I was happy to table there. I know there's, you see, but I know there's been some sentiment about preaching to the choir. I feel like being in the community of the other CACs and Climate Smart communities could be helpful.
Yes.
But I also, we need to have that certificate to be able to participate. I mean, I could just participate as a volunteer, as like a county volunteer too, and not a big deal.
I think I forwarded you the certificate, so we have it.
Oh, we do have,
We have it. I got it.
oh, did you forward that to me?
Maybe. I think I sent it to everyone in the group, maybe. Hopefully. Did I?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, I missed it. Totally missed it. Okay, so we just,
I know the group email thing is.
okay,
It's easy to miss.
okay.
So, yeah, we got that, and I have a banner, if you want a banner.
Such a February.
The what?
February, you just said?
No, it's September,
September
I already
14th,
put it February.
in 2 weeks.
the 14th.
Yeah, so 14. So, I mean, I plan on going. Oh, go ahead. Say.
We don't have brochures or anything for CAC.
We have some stuff in a box that I don't know if anyone else wants. We did a City of Hudson like survey a while ago. We produced this document booklet, which is actually very nice.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know if anyone actually wants that, but we could have it available.
I gave one to Tanner Greenport. He was super interested. He was like, we gotta do this for Greenport. I gotta know who we did that with. Or how we got that.
Hillary knows.
Hillary.
You have to go to the mountain.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Hillary knows. Okay, so you're gonna table? You have a table?
I have a little dinky round table.
I have a bridge table if you want. I have the box as the banner, so we just.
What's in the box?
The box has the booklets and some literature that we've used in the past. I don't know what it really is, but it is the booklet.
Okay.
So it's yours. Box is yours.
Are you interested? Are you out of town, you say?
The 10th, you
Right.
said?
14.
14. February 10th, September 14th. Yes, I could help, yeah.
From 1 to 4.
So email me and all.
Okay.
Okay, so if you want to move forward, so then there's the application, which we're already late, but I don't think they're gonna say anything.
I don't think there's a meeting on Thursday, so I can just,
Okay,
I can fill it out if,
so you have this, which I think is the only thing we really needed was the insurance certificate.
Yeah.
Fine. I will, and then I'll give you a bridge table, a banner, and whether it's right now.
That's
Yeah.
okay.
Good, done.
Anyone else interested in anything?
I can't.
Absolutely no interest.
I think we lost Hank in this, and we lose Hank.
Yeah.
I will say, we should circle back to Nick, because I think Nathan was talking about wanting to do that too, so.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yes.
Someone-
that's what I thought you
someone-
said.
someone-
Email me.
I thought
See
not.
what's-
Yeah, I thought it was Nathan, yeah.
Or Michael, maybe.
Yeah. Oh, Michael here, he's good for that.
Yeah.
Michael, I think you actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did it last year.
I spent 7 hours at the Columbia County Fairgrounds this past weekend, so
Oh,
I'm just.
just 7
I was 7 hours
hours.
at the county fair. It's a little
I
insane.
joined the Greenport Fire Department.
You did?
I did,
Really?
yes, and I was making meatball subs
Wow.
Friday night, Sunday morning, Monday morning.
When do you have time for all this?
I didn't have time.
She's performing every night too.
It's true. My friend swears he got food poisoning from a meatball sub.
You know, I can't guarantee that it wasn't for me. Don't know when did he have it?
Thursday night.
You realize,
I wasn't
You
there.
weren't there, wasn't you?
It wasn't me.
Yeah.
you realize.
Saying me to serve the credit from me.
Yes.
No, it was Friday night. It would've been ours.
I don't think like any other board or committee actually laughs at it. All right, what else do I have on here? Lawn maintenance, what does that mean? What did I want? Oh, this is it, this was waiting on Tom. Tom,
Oh.
I'm hoping,
this was.
I'm
lawn
hoping to have,
maintenance.
are you listening or are you gonna talk?
Yes, we're listening.
I'm sorry, too much levity going on there. The change to the code is in the works. I'm hoping to have it ready for our next meeting.
Where, this next meeting? Council?
No, for the
What next?
council. Taking it right to the council.
Oh.
Unless you want to see
Yeah,
it
very
first.
high street. Yeah, well, we keep, yes. We want to see it first.
Okay, we can do it that way. It's
Nice
basically,
little
there are two things. We're trying to make it, the code conform more with state law. Which, the biggest thing is defining noxious weeds, which our code doesn't do.
Okay.
And so it's very confusing to people what they can and cannot have in their front lawns and how high it can go.
Okay,
That's it. Those are the
So-
only two changes, because it's a state code. It's not, ours just isn't in total conformity. So we're trying to make it a little bit more liberal in its what it allows.
all right, fine. So are you gonna send it to us? So we
Sure,
can read it?
yeah,
Great.
definitely.
Okay, good. All right. That'd be great, so we can see that all.
Yep.
All right, great.
Maybe it would help if you looked at the code to begin with, so you understand what's there.
All right, I'll go look at the code, I'll bring up the code too. We'll do a link to the code and you give me,
Yep.
you send me the document.
Yep.
All right, great. Thank you. I have on here the town by the park, and I think this is my issue too. Park in the Waffle Stone. You saw the Waffle Stone that
We
I'm
did.
talking about,
Oh, God, yes.
right?
Yeah, looks like they even put cement in there at
I
one
don't
point.
I don't understand the whole point of that. Right?
It's bad. What's this?
In the pocket parks, on State Street,
At the top of the
at the
crazy
top,
staircase.
crazy staircase
Mhm.
that nobody uses.
Yeah.
It's like it's got these cement like mold, kind of
Forms,
forgets, yeah. And it's, there's nothing in between them, so it's like you can just get, you can't ride your bike on there, you have your wheel stuck.
Okay.
Or a wheelchair.
Or a wheelchair, or an old person that doesn't necessarily, or any person that doesn't have, you know, good balance, it's dangerous.
It's dangerous.
And in fact, I mean, we talked about this, the tread on the ramp and the stairs
Oh, yeah.
is so intense that when my daughter fell on it, her entire knee just got ripped off because it's like glass. I mean, it's
Oh, it's
insane.
horrible.
It's really insane.
Yeah.
I don't know who did
And then like, so Andrew and I walked around there and we were looking at it also, it's just, there's nothing planted. It's just ugly as all.
It wasn't always like that. They had things planted
They
there,
had things planted.
like
and
ornamental
it got-
grass, and then, no, they weed whacked it all.
Yeah,
And they don't, and and the fountains used to work, they don't work anymore. The idea behind that waffle center, I think, is supposed to be like built in with soil, and then it's supposed to grow some sort of.
Like a permeable surface.
Right,
Mhm.
but it's not. And, you know, or a wheelchair or nothing. Even just walking on that.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
so what's the next step with this, Rich? I will email, so you see, I'll email TPW and see what it says.
Okay.
You know, anyone else have any other ideas on what to do? I don't know.
Could alert Bill,
Why?
alert Bill.
Oh my God.
Alert Bill.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
Well,
You're on your own.
Well, if it were the kind of thing where, okay, like the cemetery entrance, we were to take it on as a project, that's one thing. But as far as like, we're gonna write to DPW and see what they say, they're gonna say, not my problem.
Well,
Right?
if we did it as a project, could it be like a one-shot project that we don't have to maintain it?
Yeah, well, that would be the
Yeah.
idea, yeah, so we would work on something that could be, something that would create an easier walking scenario, right? You would plant, we were talking about planting things in those spaces that they didn't have to maintain as much, or didn't have to cut.
And that was where I got to the point of like, can we find people who actually want to work in the green space?
Right, yeah.
help maintain
Could we
Throw
say, like,
kids into
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
urban
Mhm.
town, high school, whatever,
Yeah.
project.
they could sponsor like a section of it?
I appreciate the focus on that because of the surface of it. It's not the most utilized, accessible, or.
Yeah.
So I think if we uncouple the idea of dealing with that surface
Mhm.
along with trying to develop one of the pocket parks, which is I know.
Right,
as well, yeah,
We're getting there.
yeah.
And we could always engage, is it Hudson Build Hudson in
Mhm.
hardscapes of some of
Yeah.
these
Yeah,
projects
yeah,
too.
yeah.
If we had the budget to,
I would hate to get to a point though where we're just concreting it in like so many others.
oh, for sure.
Oh,
for
yeah,
sure.
no.
Yeah, I don't think that's the solution.
I mean, I know Chris May from Light Pop. She was talking about that park at the end of at the bottom of the staircase where Mel's Bakery is.
Yeah.
Mhm.
To help, you know, make that fountain work and things like that,
Yeah.
so.
Maybe I'll agree to talk to the businesses too.
Did I tell you that I had helped Mel's do the landscaping, or not landscaping, but just like weed it? And they were very interested in maintaining it themselves. But of course, they wanted to do it themselves, and then they don't have enough time, so they end up not doing it. And that's a thing that you'd have to worry about, or that would be concerning to me, like, okay, yeah, this group is in charge of this section, but like, if they get lazy or
Yeah.
don't have enough time or resources, then it goes unfinished or unworked on.
Yeah. So
So,
that's why it's, I gotta
mhm,
just look at all the repercussions. of
Yeah.
Taking it on.
A year or two on here at CAC, we talked about having like a guide, like a pruning maintenance
a
guide
guy.
that, GUIDE, guide that we would put together to help the DPW workers, you know how to prune certain bushes, not to weed whack this park, you know, like each one, how to maintain these parks.
Mhm.
Because what happens is that, like, they just go into the weed whack or they just prune too much.
This looks dead. Yeah.
Yeah, don't touch the cemetery entrance.
Yep.
or Things like that.
Mhm.
So, yeah. Okay, SUNY ESS.
So SUNY ESF is a department at SUNY that focuses on environmental projects and research. And I think I emailed folks about this, but
Yeah.
they reached, one of the researchers had the Hudson River Foundation had an RFP, and SUNY ESF wanted to apply, and they wanted to work with different river towns on a project that was a social science research project focused on climate and environmental justice engagement in river towns in this region. So they got Newburgh on board, Kingston, maybe Poughkeepsie, and they asked if we would participate, and they submitted a LOI, so just the early stage, and it was they were just invited to submit a full proposal, which was due sometime in October. And what basically they would, and I told them, I gave them the green light to go ahead and just add Hudson into the LOI because it didn't require anything. We have an opportunity, if we are interested in really being part of this project, to inform what their research is. If we have ideas, they want as much input as possible from the different municipalities, but they essentially, it wouldn't be a lift for us. They would get the funding to SUNY, and they would just want us to help with community engagement, essentially. And then they provide data and whatever research is helpful to us as a city in terms of how we engage on climate justice issues.
Yeah, I wasn't sure about the proposal. What exactly do they do with your research? I don't want to take up our time to go, but it just wasn't clear to me what they're getting at.
Yeah, I think it's just pure research on their side and around climate justice, but
I guess I don't know what that is.
or environmental justice. So just disadvantaged communities that have been impacted by pollution or by
Okay.
climate change in different ways. And so if we have research, if we have like data needs, like Kingston in particular was really excited to work with them because they want to know how their disadvantaged communities are being engaged in policy developments in Kingston or not, or just, you can tie it to stormwater runoff and impacts of drinking water with extreme weather events from climate, or treescapes, or many different ways you could think about it. And so if we have any needs in terms of information that we want them to fold into their research, like in terms of how street trees might impact air quality, for example, and how that might impact certain wards within this city specifically, we could ask them to include that level of detail. I think they'd be open to it. So there's
Water purification or whatever.
Yeah.
By your front street and how
that
the
impacts the,
stench.
yeah,
I don't know if that has been improved with the redoing of the sewers or whatever, but
it's a combined
people
sewer.
living down there definitely impacted. Yeah, it's.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so they just got the invitation. I think they're going to reach out with a little more specific asks. But I wanted to just make sure everyone was on board with us just participating. Sure.
Yeah, that's.
And if people have ideas, feel free to send them my way and I can send them to the researcher. I had a conversation with him recently and he seems just wide open. He'd also mentioned like community surveys, and I told him there's a bit of, in my opinion, community survey fatigue in Hudson because there have been so many different from the city, from us, from the Cornell adaptation process, from the comprehensive plan process. So he's aware of that. But
I think Tom has a question.
yes,
Tom,
Yeah, I mean, depending on what they're actually asking for, I think that needs to go through the council if you want to get a letter of interest or city,
Okay.
city proposal. And
yeah,
city
that
involvement.
totally makes, yeah, that totally makes sense. And I think I'll find out when the date is, because I think the letter of would probably be with this actual proposal in October. So,
Okay,
so I'll connect with you, Tom. Thanks.
good.
okay. New business.
Hi.
Oh, sorry for the long meeting. I'm not sure how this works. Where do I?
Right there. There you go. You're in there. Just talk.
Here you go.
Okay. I'm to wander through the story a little. A couple of months ago, after Rick Becker's memorial service, a bunch of people started talking about what might be done as an additional memorial, maybe a tree or something like that. And then Dale Schaefer got
drawn into the conversation. Dale Schaefer is the principal of Wagner Hobson landscaping firm down in Wilton. I assume you all know him.
Yep.
No, okay. He's a very well-respected landscape architect. And he was part of an earlier parks group called Hudson Parks Conservancy a few years ago, before the pandemic. And Dale said, well, then the conversation became, what about the pocket park? It's now known as Thurston. And Rick was very fond of it. And it turned out that Dale had already done a plan for the renovation of the park. So things began to move in a direction. There's a lot of moving pieces. I'll try to describe them all. There is, as I said, there is a plan. It's past these around so you can see them. And right now, Dale is in the process of having a member of the staff price it out, figure out what the cost would be if, and there's many ifs here, if it could be funded privately. And this is something for, I think, Tom to advise on as well. The plan would be, if it's cheap financially, is to raise funds, private funds, so there's no public funds that would need to be sought for. And there seem to be enough people who are interested, again, depending on what the cost is. We don't know what that is. But it's, as you can see, it maintains the character of the park. It actually enlarges the children's section because it's known as a family park. And so that maintaining that feel is part of what Dale's renderings do. And so, and it also turns out that it has a private history because Harry and Nick Haddad were the ones who actually got those trees planted some 15 or more years ago and did the original. So that, you know, the trees would stay, it wouldn't be taken down, it would simply be enhancing the planting some of the walls of the various houses. Now, why am I here? It turns out that we need, if we're going to do this privately, we need to have 501c3 organization so that all the donations would be tax deductible. And so why I asked Rich if I can come to talk to you is because you folks have nonprofit status and could be the fiscal agent for this particular project.
We have nonprofit status because one of the grants that we did a year or two ago, one of the partners for that grant, we set up an account with the HDC, the Hudson Development Corp, which is a nonprofit.
And they,
So
yeah.
we don't really have nonprofit status. We're just like an affiliate of the HDC. But we do have an account set up with that we can use.
Right. And so if this also comes to pass, and I think that, you know, the Paul Cassidy, who's really the head of this, needs to talk to the mayor, possibly Tom, whether or not the council gets involved with something that's completely privately funded, you would need to advise. But as I said, it would be the moving pieces, right? And it has a lot of promise because it would mean that there would be, you know, that the park would be renovated, and that is, you know, there's been good talk about doing that. And if you pull it off completely privately funded, then that would be add more to it, and it would be, you know, could give Memorial Rick because it was something he was really fond of. So it's for your consideration to know whether or not we could set up the fiscal sponsorship. Now, the reason I'm here is because I've had 35 years in the nonprofit sector. So, and I've set up fiscal sponsorships. I'm doing one right now. I'm supervising one myself right now out of Perfect 10, where I'm the treasurer. And we have accepted for fiscal sponsorship, medical relief for Ukraine. So that's a project that I'm now currently supervising and actually doing the back end for banking and tax purposes. So I know how these things are run. It would be a simple letter of agreement. There's a particular form of document that is used for fiscal sponsorship. And so it's, as I said, it's very preliminary because what it comes down to is we don't know what the costs. And until Dale comes up with the costs, we really don't know what we're talking about. But it seemed, why not start pulling the pieces in? We need to go together and make this happen. So that was really why I'm here. And if there's any questions about it, covered anything, you can have it.
So what do you need from us at this?
At some point, just to know that if it comes to, if we get to the point of having a viable project, we come back and set up a fiscal sponsorship with you folks.
Yeah, I mean, any comments? Questions?
Yes.
Yes.
Is it?
Do we have any input in like the plants that are used?
I would say that, yes, I mean, I think at some point, there would be more articulation of this. I mean, because you see from the plans, there's a lot more planning that go into that than there is now, because it's just macadam and dirt with a little grass. And I'm sure Dale could be much more discursive on it than I could be, because it's really his design. And I'm sure he'd be happy to talk to you about it.
Okay.
Great. I'm open to it. I think there's one red flag on this specifically, just in terms of plant species. And so I think if there's an openness to just working, collaborating, I think that would be.
I can guarantee you, we're
Appreciate
willing to talk.
Yeah.
Because this was a plan that was put together prospectively 3 or 4 years ago for a group that no longer exists. And, I mean, we're fortunate to have at least this much to say, we're not going to take the trees out and we're not going to try to, sculpt, it won't change the basic format except, as I said, to enlarge the playground area.
It's a little too early to get into the weeds.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, I was waiting.
Thanks for being on.
That's great, yeah, thank you.
Tom?
Is your hand still up?
Yes, there's a couple of ways to go about this. Are you intending to create well, first of all, you need a memo of understanding with the city.
Yeah.
Secondly, you can give funds that are tax deductible directly to the city. As long as it's for public good, it is tax deductible. So there's various, I mean, are you planning on creating a 5013C yourself for this?
No, we're going to be with, this is tantamount to a 501c3. Fiscal sponsorship provides this organization, this group of people, to act as if they were a full 501c3. The parent organization has some supervisory responsibility, a fiduciary responsibility for looking at the bank account, but the bank account is separate. And we were not hadn't even thought about having it to the city simply because we assumed that the construction would also be part of what Dale would be presenting. So that it would be the entire project that would be undertaken and that's the cost issue is what would all of that cost. I mean, I think it's generous to suggest the city would be involved, but I don't think it's really necessary. Although, of course, it is a city park, and the mayor and possibly the council would need to approve the project.
And then maintain it.
Yeah, I mean, that would have to be part of the agreement is who's going to maintain it. If it has specific maintenance requirements. I think, Don, if you want to stop by and talk about this further, I'd be happy to. Because we're doing this, with a number of private entities. There's one, well, yeah, FOPS for the park and Spark for Charles Williams, but there's also a project in the works for the Pocket Park next to Mexican Radio. So,
Right. Yeah, no, I'd be happy to. I will send it to
Kidding
someone.
or? I'm all purpose.
Thank you.
Thank
Is there any reason for you to hold on to these, you may? I'm sure I can.
If you have a soft copy, we'll take a soft copy.
Yeah.
Of course, I
Thanks.
didn't hear a lot of what you were saying, Don, because the sound is really bad, but
Okay.
that's okay.
Well, the key is if we pull this off, it's privately funded.
He said,
If you want to come over
come
to,
over here. You got the
I said that the key to this, if we pull it off, is that it's privately funded.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for saying it.
I'm happy to listen. I'll tell you. It was when I was county council president, we created for this.
Oh, great.
how we
So
doing?
I'm.
Yeah, are we okay? Oh, okay. I was gonna say, you look disappointed, but maybe you're just like.
It's so withholding.
All right, anything else? Anyone else? Anything?
No,
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Second?
third it.
Third? All right, thank you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for playing.
Thank you.
Next time.